Okay, now we are in chapter 3. Chapter 3 is about frequency distribution. So we have learned there are many types of data that we can process to represent so that it can give or it can be an information so that it can be meaningful for other people to use to make decision. Okay, so that is why processing data and make it present in a more meaningful way is very important in statistics. Okay, now we have learned about quantitative and qualitative data. Okay, for quantitative data sets, we have a distributed data which is not arranged in a proper order, so we call this ungrouped data. Okay, this is ungrouped data. So this ungrouped data can be grouped into a number of classes, such as this way. So this is like midterm scores. How many students have got the scores in between this range? So we can group them according to the range, starting from lower to the highest range, the highest midterm scores. So this is called group data. Okay, for example, number of students that got score in the midterm between 6 to 12 is 7. So from 6 to 12 number, from 6 to 12 here, so we can count how many, 6, 9, they are considered under midterm scores. So we can count how many falls into this range. So that will be number of students that obtain the score 7. Okay, in between 13 to 9 also, we can count how many, like 14, 17. Number in between this range is 12 and so on. Okay, so normally the gap between the lower and the upper group is the same for each classes. Okay, so we can see it here. Okay, when working with large quantitative data sets, it is often helpful to organize and summarize data by constructing a table called frequency distribution, just like those for qualitative data. So we have learned about qualitative data. Okay, and then we can form it in a distribution table and count how frequent the data appear. So that will be the frequency distribution. So however, since this data have no natural categories, we divide the data into classes. Because since ungrouped data that we have seen in the earlier slides, there are no categories. So they are all put in one group. So therefore, for us to be able to see the data in a more understandable way, we divide the data into classes. So these classes are intervals of equal wide. Okay, earlier we learned that we have the gap in between, for example, 6 to 12, 13 to 19 and so on. So they have equal wide that cover all values that are observed in the data set. Okay, data presented in form of frequency distribution are called group data. Okay, so this is called group data. This is called group data. Okay, earlier this is ungrouped. This one we cannot see how frequent the number appear. So we cannot see it easily. So when we form it into group data, so we can see it easily. The most student get the midterm scores are between 20 to 26. The least student get the midterm scores is between 34 to 40. Okay. Okay, classes. The lower class, so this is the class. So the range for the frequency is called class. The lower class limits of a class is the smallest value that can appear in that class. So this is the lower class, 0. This is upper class. 0 is the lower in the class, the first class, and 4 is the upper in the first class. The upper class limits of a class is the largest value that can appear in that class. So number 4 is the largest that can appear here. Okay. So the class Y is the difference between consecutive lower class limits. So between 0 to 4, this is called the class Y. Okay, 5 to 9, this is called class Y. So how many number can appear between 5 to 9 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so how many? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So altogether, the units are in the class lower and upper is 5 units. Okay, the class boundaries are the numbers used to separate classes, but without the gaps created by class limits. So that is called class boundaries. It is given by the midpoint of the upper limit of one class and the lower limit of the next class, also called real class limit. So that is called class boundaries. Okay, class boundaries is like we use the upper limit of one class and lower limit of one class, add up and divide by 2. Okay, the midpoint. So that is how we find the midpoint. Okay, as mentioned here, the class midpoints are the values in the middle of the classes that can be found by adding the lower class limit to the upper class limit and dividing the sum by 2. So this is the upper class limit, this is lower class limit. So we add up 4 plus 5 and then divide by 2. So answer is 9 over 2. 9 over 2, which is 4.5. So 4.5 will be the midpoint or the class boundaries for this interval. Okay, and class boundary for this interval is 9 plus 10 divided by 2. And class boundary for this interval 14 plus 15 divided by 2. Okay, that is how we find the class boundaries, which is the midpoint, or it is called real class limit. Okay, let's try do this exercise. Do it on your own. Determine, using this table. Determine first variable frequency. Okay, refer to the earlier slide from the beginning. The class Y, lower limit of the fourth class, upper limit of the sixth class, boundaries of the third class, and midpoint of the second class. Okay, so having all the earlier slides, try to figure out, to find what is the term given by this exercise. Okay, so first, nak construct a frequency distribution, kita kena follow this step. Okay, step 1, choose number of classes, use Sturge formula. Ini memang standard, gunakan Sturge formula di mana C adalah number of classes and N is number of observation in the data set. So gunakan formula ni kita boleh dapat number of classes C tu. Dengan N, how many observation, how many data kita ada. Okay, step number 2, choose a class Y. Okay, class Y ni daripada formula I greater than a range over C. Range ni adalah data kita daripada yang paling kecil kepada data yang paling besar. Apa dia punya range? That is the range. Ambil data paling besar, tolak data yang paling kecil. That is the range. Okay, C yang kita obtain daripada sini. And then kita boleh dapat apa dia punya Y dia daripada I ni. I ni kita ambil yang paling hampir kepada formula range over C. Okay, step 3, starting point. Choose the minimum data value or a convenient value below it as the first lower class limit. Okay, faham kan ni? Choose the minimum data value or convenient value below it as the first lower class limit. Okay, so dia ada minimum, ada maximum value untuk setiap kelas. Okay. Step 4, bila kita dapat minimum data value tu, kita add dengan white, dia akan dapat nilai yang paling maksimum untuk kelas tersebut. So kita akan tambah macam tu dan seterusnya. Kita akan setiap minimum data value untuk the next class, tambah lagi dengan kelas white akan dapat dia punya range dia untuk kelas tersebut. Okay. So macam ni lah. Dan kita tambah setiap lower limit of the class tu, kita tambah dengan kelas white tu, dia akan dapatkan range untuk, dia akan dapat akan dapat standard class daripada satu kelas kepada kelas-kelas yang lain, sampailah kita dapat data yang paling maksimum sekali dalam kategori last class tu. Okay, step 5, find lower limit for each of the remaining classes by adding the class Y to the lower limit of the preceding class. Okay, stop when the largest data value is included in each class. Okay, number of classes equals to step 1. Step 6, count the number of observations in each class and construct the frequency distribution. So daripada data tu nanti kita akan cuba follow these all steps, dan kita akan dapatlah construct frequency distribution. Okay, in example 1, construct a frequency distribution for quantitative data. Okay, untuk home run team, bagi team negeri-negeri di US ni, dengan home run. Ini yang main baseball teams. Okay, this is number of frequency of home runs hit by Major League Baseball team during the 2004 seasons. Okay, so yang ni dia punya frequency. Yang ni dia punya team-team bagi US punya state. Okay, so ni example dia dalam bentuk table macam ni, kita boleh construct frequency distribution. Ataupun kita boleh buat relative frequency distribution by using this formula, relative frequency, which is frequency over sum of all frequencies. Okay, macam yang ni, daripada sini kita guna formula yang earlier tu. Okay, cuba buat tengok macam mana kita boleh dapatkan this one using the earlier punya step-step tu. Okay, step-step tu untuk dapatkan white, class white, dia punya minimum value dengan maximum value of the class white. Okay, kemudian ini data di frekuensi daripada sini. Frekuensi daripada sini ni akan kita tengok jatuh dalam kategori mana. One by one kita sini akan dapat macam ni. Okay, you all cuba check macam mana dapat nilai-nilai ni dalam kategori kelas ni, macam mana dapat. Okay, kemudian nilai-nilai ni macam mana dapat daripada frekuensi yang ni. Okay, yang ni untuk frekuensi. Kalau kita nak buat relative frekuensi, guna formula every frekuensi ni divide by 30. So akan dapat satu lagi kolom untuk relative frekuensi. Okay, next. For exercise, cuba buat yang ni. Okay, the emissions of 65 vehicles in units of grams of particles per gallon of fuels are given. Okay, this given, data given. Now, construct a frequency distribution using a class white of 1 and 0. Yang ni given. Class white of, untuk data ni, kita dah diberi. White of 1 and 0 as lower limit. Start daripada 0 dengan class white 1. So, dia akan jadi 0 to 1, 1 to 2 to 3 and so on. Okay, ni yang given, senang. Kita dah boleh construct class untuk distribution frequency. Okay, now find the relative frequency for each class. So, daripada tadi kita mula-mula kita dapatkan dulu class white. Kita dapatkan dulu classes daripada table. Okay, second one, apa dia punya frequency daripada sini. Then third column dapatkan relative frequency. Okay, now do this as your exercise.